with stuff where it doesn't really matter. That's my quote-unquote advice, devs, right? I just completely fucked up where we needed to go. All right, we went to the mines. Man, I still can't believe that there's actually another. Wait, did we actually make progress here before I go here? Wait, what exactly is? Wait, what is place? No, I don't think that was it. Yeah, the game was very complex. I really liked it, by the way. It's just like I said, a few days you didn't play for a few days. Yeah, you're not gonna remember everything, right? It's gonna feel a bit hard to know where you want to go. Does actually attacking reduce fall damage? Wait, are we? How much more damage or less damage should we do now? It's also gonna be really hard to tell when we hit a weakness and don't hit a weakness. I mean, it's so much heavier, right? It should be better, but. I don't know, let's see how much HP we get and all that stuff. I mean, it's a burning area, so I would assume that burning might not be the best fit, but no idea if it works like that. I mean, it depends on the enemy placement, right? Yeah, but what we're gonna do here, I think this was the backtracking part. Or what was it, the backtracking part? No, this was just a dead end, right? Yeah. As far as I know. Could be something completely different. Yeah, I think this guy looks like somebody who wouldn't really take more damage from fire, but I might be completely wrong about that, and he's super weak to fire. Yeah, let's see how much HP we get back. Yeah, we didn't go here, so all we did is walk around, really? We never actually came back here? Oh, hi. I mean, we do a lot of okay damage, right? Yeah, sometimes kind of hard to get behind them. I mean, especially here on the stair where you can go back. Yeah, now what I really appreciate, the game doesn't fucking go, haha, bait it, bait it, bait it, bait it, bait it. Oh, by the way, I mean, they could bait, right? By the way, I'm also input reading, and you know, as of course, in real sports, fighting sports, martial arts, combat, you're gonna pretend you attack, you're gonna feint, all that stuff, of course, right? But there is a degree to physical nonsense. Just the moment where you go. Wind up a hit, stop before you hit, and then you hit. That makes zero fucking sense, right? It's so fucking dumb. And everything that's physical, not logical, should not be in a game, in my opinion, because it just doesn't make sense to a human being, right? It makes maybe sense after 1,000 hours of playing. Oh, nice. But it doesn't make any sense to other people. So now we have a fire weapon, which is kind of cool. The first elemental weapon we actively chose to use. Might actually turn out that it is a dead end. No, it's not a dead end. Not at all. Yeah, and by the way, also, you might have noticed we're doing that since quite some time. Just, you know, suck for maybe 1 second or something, and you're gonna get all the souls. I think it has a very large, maybe even global sucking in range, so you don't need to worry about picking up everything. Just do it once before you rest and you're gonna be fine. Right, so you don't need to pick up everything. I mean, I still do, because whatever, my brain, that's how my brain works, but you can just ignore it, right? You don't have to go there. And they remind me also a little bit of the souls in Zelda. You know. I also picked those up, even though by now in Zelda I knew that I didn't need them. I mean, our damage is kind of not the greatest, but let's just assume that this is the area where Let's just assume this is the area where we are at our weakest, you know, when it comes to getting... So it probably would be advisable to have 2 elements and physical mix on your weapon, so you just never get scaled too much. I mean, 1 element is also fine if it's not in both weapons, I think. Yeah, I think that is pretty cool, good in general. Yeah, and really, so far, easily a 9 out of 10 for me, the game. Because I just have fun, right? I'm just having fun, right? It's pleasant to play. There's nothing else I can say. It's well made, it looks great. It is a pleasing game. Oh, wait, we're already back down here. Oh, okay, so this entire area was basically just to go back here, which I don't quite understand why you would do that, but... Yeah, it would be cool to see if we can one-shot them. Yeah, how much more damage would we do without the fire attacks? And I still don't know if the weapon came from an enemy or not. I mean, if it did, the enemy should have it in hand, right? So... Going up here, we should actually see it. Yeah, I think these enemies actually are slightly resistant to fire. I don't know why I think that, but... Yeah, so the fire weapon's probably not going to be the best play here of all times, but I still think it is more than okay to be using it here. Wait, what's that? Oh, that's one of these new things, the Halloween thingies, but I don't think they're going to change a lot. They're just visual changes. Yeah, I mean, pure physical damage is probably the cleanest we can have, but... Probably just not gonna happen, so... I mean, it could happen, but I don't want it to happen, right? I'm just gonna try the fire stuff a little bit. It's just for fun. But I don't think we actually got it from an enemy here. I think it was actually a ground drop, but I might be completely wrong about that. Maybe the big one here, right? Does he have a spear? Doesn't look like he has one. And a lot of very fair hitboxes when it comes to the enemies. I don't think they cheese you really hard here. No, I think we actually got it here, and would also make sense because all these enemies are not really new, so we should already have plenty of those spears. And there is a difference, by the way, between traversal stuttering, which we still have, even though we already were here, and shader compilation. So the game has a little bit of traversal stuttering, it always had. And I must honestly say, I do kind of blame Unreal Engine more than the devs for that, because I think the Unreal Engine, as amazing as the visual results are, still needs a little bit more work in general. Just, you know, to be cleaner and these, you know, small things that they don't impact the experience too much. But I still think we're moving into a very interesting direction by having the option of even using you know, even more advanced rendering techniques in games, which are like not very simple, right? The geometry part especially. I mean, Lumen is great, don't get me wrong, but basically Lumen is something we can easily brute force by using path tracing at some point, but Lumen is more efficient. But I still think the geometry part and all the asset loading stuff is not as trivial, right? You're never going to have... I mean, for example, yes, you could get more polygons just and more GPU rendering and whatever, and then you could solve the geometry. somehow, but I think it is way more algorithmic intensive than just ray tracing. So I think Lumen's great, but it's probably also very impactful. Wait, where do we have to go? I think here. Lumen's great and also very impactful, but I still think that we're better off. Wait, we didn't one-shot these before, right? I don't know, we didn't one-shot them either now, so... Yeah, but I still think that Nanite's gonna be the big, you know... big difference more. I mean, it's the entire end, right? It's just a part of it, the animation system, all that stuff, right? It's just a very compelling tool set. That's why games like Alan Wake 2 are nice to see, right? Because they're using their in-house engine. But it's going to become more and more apparent that just some aspects of these engines are going to be lacking in regards to the Unreal Engine, right? Because it is literally impossible to compete with a dedicated development team that only, you know, every game that uses the engine even adds more stuff to it, and it is very hard to compete there. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to end up having less and less in-house engines, even though it was financially very interesting for a while to have them. Okay, so what we're doing here is just fucking dumb, actually. To be honest, because I can't remember how we got out of here, so I'm just, you know, running around and killing stuff. Which is perfectly fine, I guess. Yeah, and the biggest advantage, obviously, of OLED is in the dark, right? In dark sections, IPS just has a lot of issues. Backlight, bleeding, IPS glow, all that stuff. But I still was very positively... I was still very positively surprised when I saw the difference, right? I thought it was going to be night and day. When going back to this display, and I would be super annoyed by darker scenes, but that's not the case. My eye is pretty forgiving, right? It's like, who gives a shit? It still looks good, right? And a little bit of fuck me, a little bit of you know, backlight stuff. You get used to it, right? It's something, if you actively are looking for it, you're always gonna see it, sure. And it, of course, it is a little bit less immersive, but it just, you know, it is not catastrophic, right? It's not like, oh my god, I can never look at this screen again, it's gonna be so shit or whatever, what I expected, right? I was like, that was my big fear, and also one of the reasons why I waited so long to get an OLED TV. And to be honest, because this IPS, I never had a better display, right? This was my best display ever, and I would say picture quality wise, definitely the TV is now better, but frame rate wise, this one is still the best I ever had. But I still think that if I compared the one I had before to an OLED TV, I probably would have not liked my screen anymore as much, because it still looks okay-ish, but this one definitely looks a lot better. And so I think I just got really lucky to have a good enough screen to not really be annoyed too much by the downsides of the IPS panel, because it's just really a great version of it. Yeah, but I still think OLED is definitely more what I want to go to in the future. Even burn-in, whatever, is like, you know, it is what it is, right? It is an inherent issue, but at the end of the day, I'm not the type of guy to keep my hardware extremely long, so yeah, that's something that's probably I'm in a lucky position in to not worry about too much, right? Because I always know that my screens are going to be at least active for 6 years usually, so if there is a burn-in, it would of course you know, make that a bit more harder to maintain. But then again, you know, in the worst case, from time to time, we're just gonna have to get one screen extra. I mean, you only live once, right? I mean, yeah. There's a reason to upgrade, there is a reason, right? And the thing is, the screens are so fucking damn good, right? If you have an OLED now, I mean, Jesus Christ, it looks insane, right? Oh, I have to go to the door.